Welcome to the Invite Health podcast, where our degreed healthcare professionals are excited to offer you the most important health and wellness information you need to make informed choices about your health. You can learn more about the products discussed in each of these episodes and all that Invite Health has to offer at www.invitehealth.com/podcast. First-time customers can use promo code podcast at checkout for an additional 15% off your first purchase. Let's get started.
Hi everybody, welcome to another episode. I'm going to be discussing testosterone in this episode of the Invite Health podcast. Testosterone is our most common masculinity hormone. It's extremely important for our health, normal levels. We'll discuss all this over the course of this episode. It affects our facial hair and our body hair. It affects the strength of our jawline. It affects our voice, how deep our voice is. It affects our muscles, our bone health, our brain health. It affects our energy, our metabolism. Low levels are an issue, and it commonly declines in older men, but even younger men, if they do not live a healthy life, testosterone levels can drop, and there are consequences. So how can you safely bring testosterone back to your normal healthy level? This and more in my episode, Natural Ways to Improve Your Testosterone Level. Hi, I'm Jerry Hickey. I'm a pharmacist. My specialty is nutrition. I've been studying nutrition for decades. You can find our podcast episodes everywhere where you listen to podcasts for free. Please subscribe and review. But you can also just go to invitehealth.com/podcast. You can also find Invite at Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Invite Health. So let's get going. This is an important thing. Now, I'm an older guy. Dr. Landon Trust is a pretty famous urologist over at the Mayo Clinic in Minnesota. And he says, as a man ages, testosterone tends to drop. This is a problem. But other things can cause testosterone levels to drop in any adult male. But I have to tell you, a drop in testosterone, it's negative, it's bad. It has a real role in male aging. As testosterone drops, so does our drive. Yes, that's right, our drive and our initiative. Our focus, our mental clarity, our bone health, which can lead, of course, to an increased risk of a fracture, like a hip fracture. Bad, bad, bad. Our muscle and our strength. Our muscle mass is dependent on testosterone, so is its strength. Now, as muscle mass drops and fat accrues, as fat builds, this can affect our blood sugar control. It can affect our heart health. In fact, a drop in testosterone is, in many, many studies, in many human trials, connected with an increased risk of mortality, and not just an increased risk of mortality in older men. It increases risk of dying in younger men as well. So what exactly is testosterone? Well, it's a hormone. It's the primary sex hormone in men. Now, women have a little bit, and they're very sensitive to it, and they need it for like their sexual health, etc., but it's incredibly important in men. Our blood levels are much higher than in women. It's our most important anabolic steroid, meaning it builds us up. It's a steroid hormone. It's anabolic. It builds us up, and this is true. Now, most of it, I think over 95% is secreted by our testicles. The rest is mostly secreted by our adrenal glands. Our adrenal glands are often called our stress glands. They're these little triangular-shaped glands on the top of each kidney, and they release other hormones also that are important for the immune system and controlling inflammation, etc., and waking up in the morning, etc. A pretty normal range, depending on the lab, could be anywhere from 300 to 1,000. It really depends on the lab. They have different ways of testing and different sensitivities, so the amount that's normal is different from lab to lab. But pretty much 350 to 650 is the normal range, which is nanograms per liter. So under 250 is hypogonadism. You could pretty much count on that, which means severely low, bad testosterone levels. And over 800 or 1,000 is considered high, and this kind of makes you into a NASCAR driver. So too high seems to be involved with thickening the blood and may be associated with aggressiveness, even criminality. But that's a totally different conversation. And I think that totally has to be proven about the aggressiveness and criminality. So the level of free testosterone is also very important. What does that mean? Testosterone can be attached to serum binding hormone levels. It's called serum hormone binding globulin, so that's not really active. It can also be attached to the protein in our blood, which is called albumin, and that's okay because it pretty easily detaches from albumin. But the amount of free testosterone is thought to be more active than regular testosterone, so you do want a good range of free testosterone. So what do we know about testosterone for men? What does it do? I mean, besides, growth and sexual characteristics and facial hair, etc. Well, it's involved with our energy. If you lack testosterone, you can feel less energy. Inflammation. If testosterone is low, you have increasing levels of inflammation, which is bad because that can affect the heart and the brain. We'll get into that. It's involved with memory. Testosterone is involved with your memory, your attention span, your focus, your spatial ability, your motivation, your drive. And, regular levels of testosterone gives you some drive and some focus and some ambition. It doesn't make you aggressive. It's involved with bone strength. So if you lack testosterone, you do have an increased risk of thinning bones, weakened bones, which does increase the risk of a hip fracture. And hip fractures are desperately dangerous in men. And also sexual function. So low testosterone, once again, reduced energy, reduced drive, reduced libido. That's not fun because there's a feedback loop there that we'll go into in a minute. Increased inflammation, fat gain, muscle loss, increased risk of diabetes and heart disease. These are all connected. In fact, low testosterone is commonly and repeatedly connected with an increased risk of mortality, which I already discussed. But it's important to put these things into perspective. Increased risk of hip fracture, issues with the brain, even an increased risk of dementia and Alzheimer's disease. So, it's very important to get testosterone back to normal. So, how does the body make testosterone? Well, there's a feedback loop to control the level of testosterone in the blood. With low testosterone, the hypothalamus, which is a regulating organ in our brain, in a more primitive part of our brain, the lower back part of our brain, it releases gonadotrophic releasing factor. And I tell you this because later on we're going to discuss things that reduce the level of gonadotrophic releasing factor. So why is gonadotrophic releasing factor important? Well, this triggers our anterior pituitary, another organ in our brain, to release luteinizing hormone. And the luteinizing hormone causes the Leydig cells in our testicles to synthesize testosterone. So there's a healthy feedback loop between our testicles and our brain, no jokes please, controlling our level of our testosterone. So, but once again, the level of free testosterone is also important. We don't know to what degree. It's a much smaller amount in our blood. So how can we improve the release of our testosterone safely and naturally? Well, there are drugs, but drugs, they can be too much. They can make you more into a NASCAR driver than a regular guy. The drugs can have too much of an effect. And plus, they're expensive, and, there's all kinds of visits involved with that. The doctor and the pharmacy. But fortunately, a normal, healthy level of testosterone can be improved by natural, healthy things. Like 1, limit your alcohol intake. So 1, limit your alcohol intake, especially beer. Beer contains the phytoestrogens, a lot of them, especially IPAs, India Pale Ales, because they contain a lot of hops, and too much alcohol can lower your testosterone level. Some doctors feel that it's safer to have vodka than to have beer. Limit soy foods. Now, legumes are good, okay? Beans and lentils and peas, they're good. They've even been shown to lower the risk of heart disease and possibly prostate cancer. But soy foods are very high in very powerful phytoestrogens, such as genistein and diadzine. Now, some soy is fine, but, don't sit down and eat a lot of tofu. That seems to be an issue. Better sleep. You need sleep for testosterone manufacture. So you want a dark room. You want to avoid blue light before sleep, which stimulates the brain too much. Less sleep increases cortisol levels and decreases the morning release of testosterone, which is very important. Now, it's interesting. If you lack some sleep early in the night, it doesn't seem to be as bad as lacking sleep in the morning. So waking up too early seems to be worse than getting to bed a little bit late. You have to handle stress. Stress reduces the risk of gonadotrophic releasing hormone. If you don't release that, you don't create testosterone. Your testosterone levels drop, and stress also increases the level of cortisol. So if you're constantly stressed, the cortisol will increase your body fat level, which decreases which decreases testosterone. So it's not a good thing. There are supplements that help with stress, but nice, relaxing, good music, moderate exercise. It seems that excessive exercise has some kind of negative effect on testosterone, but that's yet to be elucidated. The supplements L-theanine safely reduces stress. So does a little bit of CBD. I personally, what do I do for stress? Well, I handle it well because I've always been exposed to a lot of stress. But I paint. I'm an artist to a degree. And I exercise things like Tai Chi and pickleball and lifting weights. That helps with, but I don't overdo it. That helps with stress. Fat loss. Fat contains an enzyme called aromatase, and aromatase breaks down testosterone and converts it to estrogen. So too much fat increases your estrogen and reduces your testosterone. But also, too much fat affects your blood sugar and your heart health, so it's not good. So the fat loss improves your testosterone, helps you control your blood sugar. I mean, it's all good. Avoid BPA. Some plastics have BPA, which is called bisphenol A. Bisphenol A lowers androstenedione, which is another androgen, and it lowers your testosterone level. So you want to use BPA-free plastics. Anything that sounds like BPA you don't want. You need fat in your diet to create testosterone. Good fats like fish or fish oils, walnuts, avocados, olive oil, flaxseed oil, or eating flax seeds is even better. You'll like this. Healthy sexual life. Sex improves testosterone. A lower testosterone leads to a lower libido, which is bad because a lower libido further reduces your level of testosterone. When you have a healthy sexual life, it helps with your libido and it helps control your testosterone. Now, there are nutrients needed. So this is actually the 9th thing that's involved with your testosterone. Nutrients. Like low vitamin A in studies, low beta-carotene, natural beta-carotene, and low vitamin A is repeatedly connected with a drop in testosterone levels. Zinc. The mineral zinc is needed for many things. Your vision, protecting the brain, your immune system, healing, making thyroid hormone, so many things. Zinc is required to make testosterone. Now, zinc is also required for spermatogenesis, healthy levels of sperm. A zinc deficiency contributes to hypogonadism, seriously, dangerously low levels of testosterone. So you can get some zinc in oysters, in meat, even chicken, in fish, in legumes, but I don't mess around with it. Zinc is so important. It's so easy to be low in zinc. So I'm getting zinc every day as a supplement. There's so many benefits to zinc. We've done practically everything I'm talking about in general, like zinc and bone health in men and old. We have other podcast episodes on these, so you can look for that. Vitamin D. You need vitamin D to control your testosterone level. You need vitamin D to make testosterone. Now, magnesium, the mineral magnesium. Magnesium is needed to activate vitamin D, and you need vitamin D to control your testosterone, but magnesium is also needed to release melatonin at night, which is needed for healthy sleeping patterns. Vitamin E. Vitamin E is needed to maintain your zinc level, and zinc is needed to maintain testosterone. And vitamin C. Vitamin C interacts with vitamin E to control your zinc level, and zinc is needed to make testosterone. Selenium. You need the mineral selenium. You only need small amounts to make testosterone. Now, also, get your diabetes under control. Diabetes can affect your testosterone level. And interestingly, magnesium, zinc, and vitamin D, which are needed to make testosterone, are also needed to control the release of insulin and glucagon to control your blood sugar levels. So all of these are important. So I want to thank you for listening to today's podcast episode. You can find all of the Invite podcasts wherever you listen to podcasts for free. It's for free. Or just go to invitehealth.com/podcast. And please leave a review and please subscribe. You can also find Invite on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter at Invite Health. I want to thank you for listening today. This is Jerry Hickey signing off, and I hope to see you next time on another episode of the Invite Health Podcast. There is one more option to raise your testosterone level, but it's a supplement. There's a group of things in nature called flavonoids. There's thousands of them. They have many benefits. They're contributing to lower your risk of heart disease and possibly diabetes. They're good for your brain. They have antiviral effects, which is always good during the cold, bad weather. They're connected with longevity. They have many other functions, possibly even anti-cancer effects. Not all flavonoids are equal. My favorite flower is the passion flower. Very beautiful, complex flower. I grow it all year long. And out of that comes a flavonoid called chrysin, C-H-R-Y-S-I-N. Chrysin slows down the enzyme that breaks down testosterone and converts it into estrogen. It's kind of like if you build a dam and it rains, the water builds up a little, and it rains again the next day and it builds up a little bit more. Your testosterone is starting to build up back towards your normal level. You'll never get a high level with this, so it's safe, but it can help bring it back to your more normal level. The problem is chrysin is very poorly absorbed. So there's a trick to that. There's something called bioperine that comes out of the pepper plant. And bioperine increases the absorption of several substances, one of them being chrysin. So if you take chrysin with a little bit of bioperine in there, you will absorb the chrysin. And I have seen it restore men's testosterone levels considerably, where some of them were actually hypogonadal. They had very low levels, like 150 or 200, and it brought them up to like a range of 400, which is like a nice, healthy pattern, a nice, healthy level. So chrysin is an option, and I have no issue with it because chrysin has several other activities. It seems to reduce the risk of developing certain kidney stones. It's a very relaxing supplement, and right now it's being studied for its anti-cancer potential.